If I had one word to describe Sesame Place, it's fun. Sesame Place has certainly changed a lot over the years, starting off as an educational playground designed by Milton Glacier, the man responsible for the Franklin Mills Mall and the Heart and Y-shirt, and eventually made its way into an actual theme park, while retaining a lot of the elements that kept it special. Imagine going to Sesame Place and not walking inside the good ship Sesame to Sesame Island, or meeting furry favorites such as Prairie Dawn, Cookie Monster, Bert, Ernie, and, of course, the Count. But one thing that really makes it stand out is his many and ever-changing shows. Shows featuring the iconic Jim Henson Muppets we come to know and love. It's always an incredible moment when we see them living in person, and they have some of the best quality show storylines and sets in the world. Much better than Fishing for Shoes with Charlie Brown at Dorney Park, but honestly Knott's Berry Farm during their Peanuts celebration always has the best Peanuts shows. Anyways, let's take a walk through the Big Bird steps and see which shows are the top of the top. Let's get to it.
Hey! Where is Grover?
First of all, Bert and Ernie are sidelined very hard in the show, at least the first version, before they got of the song back in for the 10th anniversary, but honestly I would honestly say that the show cut out so much from the original show. Also, it's been overdone to the point that it's just plain stupid and unnecessary for it to be done at 10 different parks.
Stop singing!
First of all, my main issue is with the removal of Count, Big Bird, and Cookie Monster. I like that they get special holiday costumes instead of just their regular outfits. Bert and Ernie at least have a little more to do or say, considering how hard they were sidelined in Let's Play Together. Other than that, it's a more mediocre version of a Sesame Street Christmas that definitely overstayed its welcome. Hopefully we can get a new Christmas show in the future. Before I give you my thoughts on the show, let me remind you that before every showing they would play a SeaWorld Conservation Fund commercial. Like what 3-year-old is going to be interested in watching a SeaWorld commercial they came to see Emo. Anyways, this show is lame, felt like a big advertisement for SeaWorld. I sure hope no show at Sesame Place ever plays a SeaWorld/Busch Gardens commercial before the start ever again. It's really cute, nothing substantial. Would love it if they added more Sesame songs to the mix. Also, I would love to start off by saying that the 5-character version is much better than just the 3-character version. I saw the 2021 summer one and loved the inclusion of Bert and Ernie. Anyways, my favorite to least favorite goes to show. Least favorite is the Easter one. Second least favorite is the normal one. After that it's the Christmas one. Loved that there were some songs from the Elmo the Musical Christmas version used here. Then it's the Beach Bash since there's a fun medley from Big Bird's Beach Party. Then it's the Halloween one because of Ghostbusters. Then finally the Birthday Bash one since it does feature the birthday song from Rock Around the Block at the introduction.
Look! Birds!
Our street is Sesame Street. The Muppet gimmick is really cute, and Big Bird in the show is long evered. It's just so boring. It's mainly about this bird who sounds exactly like Rosie the Move-In to Sesame Street, with 2 great original songs, a mediocre song about music, Letter of the Day, and Try a Little Kindness. It's so short, but I don't mind as much. It's just pretty weak in the story department.
I wanna wish you a Merry Christmas. I wanna wish you a Merry Christmas. I wanna wish you a Merry Christmas from the bottom of my...
Hey, wait a minute.
I really like Murray in the show. He's a fun addition, and it's the only good version of Elmo's Christmas Wish I've seen. It's the full experience. Just feels weird with Murray there. Just wish they could keep the extended soundtrack with Murray not in it. Or how about a new Christmas show? We haven't had one of those since 2014.
Dancing, walking, rearranging furniture.
It's just a standard Elmo's World episode remade for theme parks. Moving on.
I don't know. We just filming?
Countdown to Halloween. Once again, not back for a first Halloween show. I felt like the songs were pasted together with dialogue edited in later. The original version with Baby Bear, Prairie Dawn, and Big Bird is the superior version of the show. I think it's funny Bert and Ernie were in the 2010 and 2011 versions. I mean, wish they could have been in the 2012 and 2013 versions instead of those skeletons being in the finale.
King Dedede, you're really off the mark here. We're just planning a party.
Party?
It's a really fun show. I like Tango, I like Grover's invention, Rosita the Guitar Lord, Abby's magic segment. The second best live iteration at sea is for Cookie with first going to Big Bird's Sesame Street story, and it's still fun. I just don't like that Bert and Ernie are not in any major show at the park through the season, and it feels lame having the same show cloned everywhere. Yes, I'm looking at you, Elmo's Christmas wish.
Tequila.
Grover gets nothing to say in this parade, but it's still a fun parade. Wheats and Jackman Wolf being added to the cast was a really fun addition. Oscar's drums float is probably my favorite in the entire parade since it utilizes him being a puppet to his fullest potential and is a nice little percussion tribute. The floats are mesmerizing from the jukebox opening to Rosita's giant tropical bird float, which honestly as a kid I thought that giant bird on Rosita's float was Mrs. Finch from Follow That Bird for some reason. I don't know.
This is worse than I thought.
So many great songs such as Get on Your Feet Hard and Rock and Roll, Let's Go to the Help the Birthday song by the Beatles, and every year that ends with a 0 or a 5. It's probably the parade I'm most nostalgic for.
Why are you both dressed more terribly than usual? It's Halloween, Harry!
Songs are much better this time around with all of them being hits to me, even the finale song which was my favorite. Count being included was such a nice addition, and it's really fun seeing Elmo having a Halloween costume identity crisis, and then rushing to put together the leaf costume. It's fun all around, from the Transylvania polka all the way to the Thriller ending. I don't like that Oscar is still a puppet, make him a well-current damn it.
And so I threw a party and I really partied hard.
This is a much needed step up to the Rock Around the Block parade, especially since it's a full experience. Prairie Dawn really gives off theater kid vibes here, and the 3 show stops really enhance the experience. Honestly, I think it's much better than the Orlando, San Antonio, and San Diego versions. San Diego especially because at least here the characters can say Sesame Place rather than being cut off or re-recorded. Grover still doesn't have much to do, but hey, at least the Halloween version makes him part of the show.
Upon the original upload, I unfortunately forgot to upload the mini ranking of all of the neighborhood street party parade versions, and for a good reason in all honesty. I unfortunately did not have time to record footage of the parade before the original ranking, so I intentionally left that part out. But now I have all of the footage, so it's time for the long-awaited mini ranking. I think last place goes to the mini parade. Yes, it's fun to see them switch out characters from time to time, but it's personally just not my thing. And then there's the birthday parade. Once again, just not my thing, but really a fun way to help commemorate Sesame Place's birthday over the anniversary season, and attempts to do it every year for 3 years in a row. And then there's Mardi Gras parade. First of all, shout out to Murray who does not make an appearance in this version, but I kinda like the 3 show stops better rather than the 2 performed. But hey, it does give me a better idea of what the parade would be like if they did make the switch to 2 show stops. Also cool use of Big Bird's parade from Sesame Street Live 1 2 3, imagine, I kinda like that. Then there's the regular parade, which is infinitely better than the other versions because of Count's epic remix of Count It Higher, and a fun new version of Do the Alphabet.B. Then there's Christmas. Super sweet and charming, and a pretty festive addition, but not really much to write home about. The addition of Santa at the end does make sense, but defeats the original heartwarming intent of the parade's end. And then there's the Halloween parade. First show stop is a fun little safety lesson. Also, we get a snippet of the Ghostbusters theme, and Count at some point says, so there. I don't know, maybe I just love the song of Ghostbusters. They should make a movie, am I right?
It's a Christmas miracle.
This is honestly the best Christmas show I've ever seen. Abby Kadabi having 10 years of her first Christmas is very funny to me, and I think that's the main problem I have with the show. But honestly, I still think it brings a great message about the generic true meaning of Christmas. Also, let me tell you about the funniest part of the show, Bert's Boysenberry phone, which is a play on the BlackBerry phone. I honestly think, well, yes, it's pretty dated. It adds to the joke of Bert being this square guy who's trying his best to be hip, but always ends up being more old-fashioned than the rest of the Muppets, which is honestly a better direction to take Bert than He Can't Dance Because He Can't.
With your host, Zeus the Guitar Lord!
When I first heard about the show, I literally lost my cool and boycotted Sesame Place for the reason that this was going to replace Big Bird's Beach Party. Like, honestly, I didn't get any good video of that show, which is why it's the only pre-2010 show I couldn't upload. But on further visits, I realized it's a worthy successor to Big Bird's Beach Party. Like honestly, there's a lot of fun moments like Bert embracing his squareness and finding the courage to audition. That whole Elmo song joke was the funniest thing I've ever seen from Elmo long before Elmo's new shoes and Big Bird's Sesame Street story. The finale, yeah, the confetti should have been at the end, which was my main issue with the original show. It did on occasion, but should have been at the end from the start.
Take a page and a pen.
Let me say this is everything a Sesame Place show should be. Like, this is my most watched Big Bird theater show, with second place going to Beach Party. It's genuinely the cutest show I've ever seen in a show. So much puppetry, Telly Monster being included, Cookie Monster singing about patience, Grover's ABC hip-hop song, Elmo literally drawing ducks on one page and then submitting the empty piece of paper as if it was genuine art, and confetti being at the end instead of at the start. I don't know, so much I love in the show.
We're looking for treasure.
Is that some kind of metaphor for a kind of search that can't be described?
No, we're searching for treasure.
This is a fun show where Abby and her friends look for small pieces of paper being challenged by Snapchat Island creatures. This show also spawned a demon that is Mini Oscar, which should never exist. Further proof Oscar works better as a well-current costume than a stage puppet. But man, the puppetry in this show is phenomenal. From the talking trunk, singing palm tree, the talking who makes other people squawk like him, rhyming rack, and, of course, full-grown Oscar, not Mini Oscar that thing can rock backstage. Hopefully Sesame Place never brings this puppet out ever again.
What do you think?
I think you look like Captain Crunch.
Huh? No, I don't.
A childish film about misfit Sesame Street pirates becoming bookenders. For a show that plays once a year, it is one of the best shows I've ever seen. It has so many fun moments, including a lot of Bert's lines, Telly literally getting cancelled by pirates, Cookie thinking it is a Cookie pirate crew instead of a Reading pirate crew, and, of course, the music. It's one of Sesame Street shows I think manages to feature a strong core in terms of the story and curriculum, and features a lot of fun moments. It's one of the best shows I've seen at Sesame Place.
It's a musical, and nothing's as amazing as a musical.
In 2013, I was in the mindset that Elmo's World desperately needed to go, and Elmo the Musical was announced a year later, thank God. Anyways, I'm really surprised on how great this replacement is. Like, it's a pretty solid show and features a strong storyline about musical theater, even if it is based on an already existing show segment. The inclusion of Cookie Monster is quite a nice surprise, and the incorporation of songs from the actual TV show along with a fun surfing medley. One Little Star is the greatest song in any Sesame Place show, and the fun twist ending with a certain fairy involved was quite a nice surprise. I honestly think the other versions are okay, but the regular version is incredible, just incredible, peak cinema. Cookie Monster is literally the best part of the show, and surprising since it's an Elmo show. Like, he has the funniest lines out of all of the characters. Another great thing about Elmo the Musical is the abundance of parody posters throughout the lobby of the theater. Which reminds me, it's time for part 2 of the segment of the show where I rank parody posters from best to worst. Here we go.
Once again, I have completely forgotten to talk about a poster. Lamau, what was that about? So I have to talk about the parody poster, which is actually my favorite, Avenue PU parodying the musical Avenue Q. I think it's a really fitting poster theme to Oscar and a fun little nod to the Tony Award-winning musical. The design is spot on, and it's fun to see Oscar on the bottom peeking out, probably ensuing chaos only a grouch with ABA in English can accomplish, so it is that going for that.
Best poster is Furry Boys. Love some of the soundtrack of the original Jersey Boys in the show, gives Hanker a starring role, so 10 out of 10. Peak theater. Second best is Pigeon on the Roof. The poster design is pretty cute and a great spin on the musical Fiddler on the Roof. Then of course, we can't forget Scrimilton. It's such a fun parody, with it being a perfect play on the Grouch Oscar and Treasure Alexander Hamilton. Hey, it's much better than Groverton, which we'll get to once I rank the parody posters for Sesame Street the Musical. Then there's Brush Spray. You Can't Stop the Bear. Pretty fun parody, and if I had a nickel for every time I ranked the Hairspray parody poster in the top 5, I would have 2 nickels. Which is not much, but weird that had happened twice. Then there's Bats. Pretty funny parody poster, and can't wait to see the 2019 remake. Then there's Preschool of Rock. I love it, it's so damn funny. Would definitely see this if it was a real Muppet musical. Then there's Rosita, Joan Lossell Brodkidone. Not really familiar with the original source material, but the poster design is really cute. Nest Side Story's up next, and dare I say that I think this poster is pretty accurate to the material it's portraying. I mean, the musical did have construction doors like the original Sesame Street in the background. Then there's Send. I do think the pun is pretty on the nose, but hey, Snuffy's included, so that's a plus. Then there's Abby, parodying Annie. It's fine. I just really don't care for the Annie musical. It's up there as one of my favorite musicals, so that's a plus. Then there's Man of La Mancha. There's not much of a pun except La Mancha instead of La Manca, and would be a lot funnier if they called it Monster of La Mancha, since this is Cookie Monster's show. It's okay for what it is. Oh wait, Elmo the musical has working curtains, which I really love about the show, and the show I'm about to talk about, which also has telly.
I hate the ocean.
It would be an understatement to say how much the show played a big part in my childhood, since I got to see it a lot as a kid and would be devastated by the eventual closure of the show. This shows so much, from the opening with the letter of the day and Cookie Monster, the opening number Haze Caller, to the finale Splish Splash, where the audience is bombarded with streamers. The water effects. Were they good? If I opened a P-Point theme park, I swear there would be a show that would have water effects on the same level as this show. Telly was such a star player in the show, especially for a show called Big Bird's Beach Party, where Big Bird does get a lot to do in this show as well instead of being sidelined. In fact, every character gets their big moment to shine, including Cookie Monster. Bert was very funny, and even on the same level as his humor in Elmo and the Book, and was in a Sesame Street Christmas to a certain extent. But the best part is that this isn't the best show. To some it may be the best show, but in all honesty, over my many times visiting the park, despite nostalgia being the main reason the show had kept Big Bird's Beach Party at such a high place, somehow there's a show that comes around every October at the Big Bird Theater, and managed to challenge the Titan. And constantly win.
Boo! Haunted house.
I mean, I'm really surprised that my favorite show is the Halloween show, with Count as a major player. Like Count's my favorite Sesame Street character. Heck, Make Your Magic has become my favorite Sesame Street live show of the recent shows. Like, there's so many fun moments. Where to begin? First of all, if Let's Play School is the jukebox musical of all Sesame Street live shows, I think Who Said Boo is a Let's Play School of Sesame Place shows. There's the ending song Having a Party, You Spin Me Right Round, which is more notable for being used in YouTube poops rather than the actual original song. The original having Telly's big musical number I Always Feel Like Somebody's Watching Me, which was in the original version of the show before being removed, and doing the zombie Cookie Monster, proving that rock and roll is definitely not dead. The Batty Bat was done as it was done originally by Audio by the Bay, with a major orchestral update, which I really loved. The characters in their Halloween costumes had their fun little character moments and really allowed them to branch out into adding their Halloween outfits as part of their personality for the show. I give this show a 10 out of 10, well, probably a 9 out of 10, since the confetti is unfortunately at the start of the finale rather than the end, but hey, solid show nonetheless.